Hello and welcome to MC's Home Energy Showcase series. My name is Alex, and joining us today from MC is David to share some information for folks who have decided to move forward with storing energy at their home and have some questions on using the system and installing it. Welcome, David.
Thank you for having me.
And my first question is, so let's say that I have a solar system. How do I connect a battery to that solar system?
Well, first thing you do, unless you are a licensed electrician, is that you hire an installer, a licensed installer who's highly rated. You go to the market, you get 3 bids, you compare the bids, you make a decision, you engage them to design it, permit it, and install it. So an engineer needs to look at all of your existing equipment, your main service panel to make sure you can safely interconnect your site. Where are you going to put this? How are you going to route the energy from your roof or from your field to those batteries and then to your point of interconnection? Then it needs to be interconnected with PG&E as well. And hopefully there is an SGIP rebate that they can apply for you to offset some of your costs.
And how would I figure out what size storage I need to say, how do I figure out what size storage I need to keep the fridge or other essential appliances running during a power outage?
Good question, and one that I don't have an answer for. These companies that do these installations will meet with you and they'll figure out what your goals are. Do you want a whole home backup? Do you want to have a load center where you are segregating the loads that are really important to you? So your refrigerator, maybe your water pumps, whatever it is, and you actually do that. Or do you just put it in as like a whole home backup and you do your own monitoring? You say, don't turn on the lights, don't turn on the microwave or the toaster, keep the TV off, those types of things. So what you would do is meet with these professionals, multiple, you'll learn from them, and you'll get a very nice average bid from all of these. It'll really help you decide. And you tell them, and they've got great programs these days where they would put in 1 refrigerator of this size, 1 water pump, whatever it is, and they'll tell you more or less how many kilowatt hours you would need in a battery size. So a typical battery, a 5 kilowatt battery, is about 13 kilowatt hours. You can do the math yourself. Look at your monthly bill. What is the average daily usage on that? So divide the number of days in the month by the total kilowatt hours you use that month, and you should get an average about what you use daily.
I gotcha. Thanks. That's helpful information to know. And the next question I want to ask is, on the process, how would I plug my fridge or appliance into one of these batteries?
Well, you could do anything from having a portable battery that you might buy from Amazon and run some extension cords from, for example, a Yeti battery to these appliances. That would be one way to do it. Solar connected battery, for example, a Tesla or any number of other vendors, that's connected to your main service panel. So you've got a breaker box or a fuse panel, and all of your load goes into that so that you're not directly connecting to the battery. You're plugging into the wall just like you would normally, and it's either up to the designer to take your critical loads and put them on a separate panel that would just be operated by the battery, or it's up to you to manually use or not use strategically how you see fit based on the amount of energy you have stored.
Gotcha. And as far as installing the battery, is it challenging to install, or is it something that I just plug in and it's quick to do?
So I am not an installer, nor am I a licensed electrician. As I understand it, you need to have an electrical engineer understand what the infrastructure is. These are very heavy. An average 5 kilowatt battery weighs about 300 pounds. So you either need to connect it to a wall, or you need to put it onto a concrete pad, or both. You need to do all of the wiring. This is medium, or this is electricity that is, there are safety factors here. So this is not necessarily a do-it-yourself unless you have some fairly significant skills and you watch YouTube and can teach yourself how to do this. But I would highly recommend that you hire a professional to do this, a licensed professional for safety. You have to get it interconnected with PG&E, so they're going to require a certain amount of permitting. You need to get a permit from your local authority having jurisdiction, or AHJ. So there are a lot of reasons to hire a licensed professional to do this.
And in terms of hiring that licensed professional, how would I go about finding a storage contractor?
That's a good question. I mean, everybody says start by Googling it. That's probably how I would start as well. I think there's a certain value to me of word of mouth from friends, to pick up the phone to the people you know that may have done this before. Did they have a good experience? Do they feel like they got value? Are they getting service when they need it? I would start local. I'm a big fan of local contractors, even if they're relatively small. You look at the number of years that the local people have been in business, and it's typically significantly longer than the big national firms. It might be a few dollars more, but I would say they're going to pick up the phone when you call every time. So I would start with word of mouth. I would go to some internet research. And yeah, those are two great places to start.
Gotcha. And finally, to close this out here, here's a really interesting question. I want to know, can portable solar panels charge one of these batteries fast enough to extend usage during an extended power outage?
So it's a good question. If you already have a solar system and you're connecting one of these large batteries to it, you don't need to worry about portable solar. Now, I like being in the outdoors, and I like having some electricity. I'm a medical baseline, and I use it for a CPAP machine, even in the woods. So I have a small battery made by Yeti, and I have a small 100 kilowatt portable solar panel that charges that battery like magic. It is the most amazing thing. And so, for example, if you're a renter and you want some resilience and you have a medical baseline issue like I do, you can have one of these batteries, buy it on Amazon for several $100s. You can buy one of these solar panels also for $100 or $2, and you have a sustainable, rechargeable, GHG-free battery.
Fantastic, David. I can't tell you how helpful that information is to have. And that is it from me. Is there anything else that you want to share on home energy or resilience before we sign off?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is wonderful technology. We're just on the edge of it being super practical and super affordable. Well, we're beyond the edge. We're there, especially with home solar. Now batteries, the demand is high, so the price will reflect that. But as the mega factories, the gigafactories start bringing supply up, the cost will come down for the equipment. The labor is not the big piece of your cost here because it's a very short install once they're bringing it in. But if you think about it, there are so many multifaceted benefits to having the solar plus the storage. Right now, when the grid is on, the grid, net energy metering, acts as your storage. When you generate more than you use, your meter runs backwards, you get this nice financial credit for it, great. Think about having a battery though. You store the battery when you're generating more than you're using, you're storing it in the battery. At night or whenever you use more than you generate, you draw on your own battery with which you've charged with your own solar system. So it's this self-sustaining resource that is amazing. If the grid goes down, you've got your backup and you're recharging your backup constantly. So if you think about this from GHG free, from climate change, from economics, from resiliency, from self-sustainability. This is magic.
Fantastic. I couldn't have phrased it better myself. Well, I want to thank you for joining to provide this information. And to our viewers, thanks for joining for MCE's Home Energy Showcase Series.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.